Mike, can you speak to the challenge that your team faces being down early so often?
Yeah, we talk about like recipes when we win games, and it's been on display for going on almost 2 full years. How you win baseball games. That we've been able to win baseball games, and we got a lot of different ingredients for that. And how we put it together, and been able to do it. We're just missing a few ingredients right now. And I'll take ultimate responsibility for it. It starts with me. I got to figure out a way to be better. It's a stretch that is very uncharacteristic of this team, and we talk about the tenets of that recipe, and the first thing it does, it starts when we're together. That part's absolutely in place. Our close, continues to get close and closer. Unfortunately, what happened with Jason, reflects that as well. Just the outpouring of the support he was able to get from his teammates and the extended family outside of our clubhouse, and so it just tells you how special this group is, how much they care for each other. So that part's intact and stronger than ever. So I feel great about that. And really, without that, we'd be in trouble, but we're not. We're going to be just fine. We know how to win, and we just got to get back to doing the things that is required to do it. A little more consistently. And that's, we walk too many guys. We put ourselves behind the 8 ball with some. The other side's trying too. They're going to get their hits. They're going to get their homers, but it's the walks, and it's not a surprise to me that sometimes that we haven't been as clean defensively, and usually when you're not controlling the strike zone, you don't control the baseball as well. The numbers will dictate that, and but we've got to be a little more cleaner and consistent. We've played good defense, done some really good things, but it's not on our brand. And offensively, the at-bats have been overall in the last several weeks. I've been pleased with the consistency of it. We've done a lot of little things really well, using the hit and run and the bunt and safety and all the different things. And today we weren't able to put together as consistent at-bats as we'd have liked, because when you're not doing some of the other things well, you gotta figure out a way to outscore them. So hopefully that answers your question.
Did you address a lot of the ways that why it's been like this? Is there teams go through this? It's more magnified, obviously, August, September, but teams
Right.
do go through this. But do you have any other reason maybe why it's happening besides obviously you're down 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 early?
I think that's the biggest start of it. It starts with we need to be able to play with the lead, get to one of the strengths of the club, the bullpen, and keep those pieces in the right order. It's really uncharacteristic of this club. We'll have a game or two, and I can come in and say it's uncharacteristic, which it is when it happens as an outlier. But when it's happened more consistently, you got to address it. And the fact of the matter is, I've got complete confidence that we're going to be more than fine. This is a group that is experienced, knows what they're doing, cares deeply about what they're doing. And expect to show up tomorrow and play a nice, clean, fundamental, solid baseball game, and it'll start right on that mound.
What did you think was the challenge for Darvish tonight?
He felt good, and I know he was trying to get in the rhythm. That's the other thing. He just, some of our guys have had trouble in that first inning, and then the starters kind of settling down. So. He'll speak to it more than I can. I was talking to Ruben after the first and said, he's such amazing how he can control his body and know where he's a little bit out of kilter, and made a little adjustment. And, but other than that, he, got to a certain point and, didn't want to take him too much further, but do need some innings out of the starter, and was going to go hitter to hitter, and, the long at bat with a walk to start the fifth, chased him. But overall the stuff's there. Velocity 95's there, spin there. Just a matter of the consistency of it, just like kind of a microcosm of everything we just got through discussing.
Obviously, with Sander out there was going to be some kind of different alignments. Is what we saw tonight when you farm with the short rise at second, is that when you're down in the game chasing it, or is that something we can see a little more?
No, I think you can expect to see that if we're down and we're chasing it. The one thing about that I can confidently say is defense is important, and we don't want to I've done this so long enough to see when you're chasing offense for the sacrifice of defense, and if you're not on top of your game on the mound as much, you need your defense. So it's an opportunity there to slide Crony over, get Louis at second, keep O'Hearn's bat in the lineup. But it's something more that we'll see when we're down, because we need to make sure we also field our best defense, because it's not the sexiest thing that we talk about a lot, and we talk about like lineup construction and all the different things, but it does show up, you know, and there's 9 innings of defense. And so, you know, to catch the baseball and make outs are important, but good news is we do have some flexibility and we use it appropriately.
How do you view the balance between absolutely needing more left-hander starters and Darvish at this point in his career, maybe want to preserve maybe his health and kind of the workload for him?
Yeah, say the first part again, Dennis.
How do you view the balance between, you know, needing more length and then Darvish is going to be a key guy for you, but at the same time, I imagine you want to kind of preserve it at this point?
Yeah, we do. You know, he's going to get some conscious. He's getting an extra day. We'll get an extra day. So that's a factor of it. We check in how he's feeling. It's definitely a balancing act. The whole thing is a balancing act. You know, we've got, you know, multiple guys that we're trying to make sure we're taking care of, and then on the other side of the ledger, you know, make sure we're taking care of our bullpen. So, you know, the thing with you is, you know, he didn't labor too much tonight. There wasn't as much stress. You know, there were some longer innings. There was a long inning in the second, I believe, and that was noted, or maybe the first rather. But you know, and then it's just about how he feels. And again, you've got the whole puzzle that you try to put together, you know, with the rest of the bullpen and what that looks like, and up guys and down guys and so forth. But it is a balancing act. But you know, we'll also, I think we've done a good job. I'm confident that we've doing a good job of making sure that we've monitored him appropriately, and he's been honest with us. And there's also a point in the season where, you know, in September where we're not going to pitch guys just to pitch them, but you know, we need to make sure we're getting what we need during this stretch.
I know we asked you a few weeks ago about Manny. He hasn't been quite the same on offense for over a month now. He's played every single game. I know he plays through stuff every single year, but
Right.
has there been some consideration about giving him a date?
Yeah, there's been consideration. I've spoken to him about it. You know, I'm going to trust a guy, and you know, there's a possibility for that. But he also is, you know, Manny's a guy that's, you know, going to post and wants to post. And the one thing we haven't been able to do is get him that DH day with the way we're configured right now, and trying to keep the lineup as strong as possible and as long as possible. And you know, that may have a bearing on it. And you know, and I talk to him, and he'll say my day off's the day off. But yeah, it's in consideration, and you know, I'm going to continue to talk to him and, you know, weigh in on him and do the best. You know, when we've had some games where, again, he's been able to play, but if it gets a little one side or the other, we've been able to get him off his feet at every turn as quickly as possible, and he's really been smart in monitoring his pregame work. So, you know, I don't think he nor I would put anything other than, you know, you got the ebbs and flows of the season, but we'll continue to monitor.
Anything else?